Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host. And today I have a guest coming on from Chicago. His name's Bill Bloom. Stay with us. Be right back. All right, we're back. Let me bring Bill on the show. Bill, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Ken. This is such an honor.
Glad to have you on, man. So I created this show about 2.5 years ago now. And it was literally to help people get unstuck. And I think a lot of people go through life, they hit these walls, they hit these problems, these challenges, and they get stuck and stay there. And so that's what this is about, is helping people get unstuck. So Bill, let's start with where you were born and raised.
Yeah, so I was born right outside of Chicago, and I grew up in Frankfurt, which is about 40 minutes southwest of downtown Chicago. So really close to the city, and spent all my life there. Went to college out in West Virginia, in God's country, as they say.
Yeah.
And played soccer at university.
Where'd you go in West Virginia? WVU?
Actually, no, it was a really small school called Ohio Valley University.
Wow.
Everyone in the business department had actually ran different departments at like UPS and IBM, and another person they owned, I think it was like 5 or 10 like Ace Hardware stores. So we actually got applicable education from people who have actually done things in the business world before. It was really important.
And it's called what? Ohio Valley
University.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Really small school.
What part of West Virginia is that in?
So it's right in Vienna, Parkersburg area, right across the river from Marietta, Ohio.
Yeah. Right down the road from me.
Yeah.
A couple of hours or so, but yeah.
But it's close. I mean, it's beautiful country out there.
Yeah, it is. So you went, so you grew up going to school, high school, all that up in the suburbs of Chicago.
Correct.
Chicago was probably a little bit of a different place back then than it is today.
Oh, it's just been progressing in a good way. I mean, we've had some crazy times over these past couple of weeks because of the protests and some riots going on. It's just been interesting times, to say the least, because wife and son and I, we live right in the downtown area because it's close to our office. So it's been a little hectic at times.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. So what was it like growing up in, I mean, that's a huge city. What was it like growing up in a city that size?
It was awesome. I absolutely loved it. When I was a kid, I always thought I wanted to live in the downtown area or somewhere around here. And it's just been such a dream come true. And whenever I went to school away in West Virginia, I knew I wanted to come back here and live here and work here. But, growing up in the suburbs, it was your typical suburban life. As a kid, we would play sports. We would play sports out on the street, and you're able to go out and walk around the neighborhoods. It's safe and quiet. So it's like almost like your typical suburban neighborhood.
Wow. So you went to college in West Virginia. What happened after you got out of college, and what did you study?
So I started business at school, and right out of school, I wanted to become a financial advisor. I knew that's what I wanted to do because I love speaking with people and serving people. I've always been in those type of roles and being part of a team. So I started working at Prudential. On the financial arm, a huge company. And I spent over 6 years there because there were amazing people. I learned how to do things the right way. And when I was 28, I decided to leave and start my own company because I wanted to really specialize in one area of the financial planning world. And that's what we've been doing for the past 6+ years.
Wow. So you went into financial planning right out of college? You went to
Right out of
Prudential.
school.
So it seems like a long time ago. I don't know. I don't know if it was some insurance company I interviewed with a long time ago. It may have been Prudential. I don't remember. So you went. So tell me how that started for you. Like where? I mean, that's sales, right? Were you in sales? That's
Absolutely. I mean, there was no salary, there was no income. You had to create it your own. And when I left, I mean, I was 28. I lost all my clients from Prudential. I wasn't able to bring anyone with me for 9 months or 2 years. So, I mean, I literally started over with not one penny of income. It was just more of a mindset to thinking, okay, I can do this. I did it once before when I was 22, 23. Not much has really changed. I can do it again. And I just wanted to be able to have all of the different types of investments for my clients. And Prudential is a great company. I just had only a couple instruments per se to use there. So I needed more things.
So hold it. You started at Prudential at 22.
Yep.
And then at 28, you left Prudential and started your own gig.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Why? Well, I mean, because that's six years that you spent building up a client base, right?
Correct.
And you just said, I'm out of here. I'm going to start my own gig.
Absolutely. There was a lot of reasons. I mean, I loved the people at Prudential. I still speak with them to this day. I speak with one of the gentlemen who was our compliance manager, Mike, every week. Like I talk to him weekly still.
Yeah.
So the people there were fantastic. And when I was 22 and 23 and really starting, there were guys and girls there who were working at the company for 30 or 40 plus years. So I learned from some amazing people, and I was just able to translate those skills by starting my own company. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to have more options for my clients so that they could have better retirement plans. I just needed more investments and really the full spectrum of tools to use. And that's what I chose to do. I thought, if I'm ever going to do this, do it now, do it right, get focused, and just grow. I wanted to grow as well. And as a kid, I always, worked. I would work at the concession stands as a kid, when at the baseball fields. I had 2 jobs in high school. I had 2 jobs in college. And I just wanted to learn about how money works and how it could work for other people. So that's really why my passion has grown so much for retirement planning over these past 12 years.
So talk about some of right out of college, you're 22 years old, you start working at Prudential, it's commission only. Did you immediately just start going out and killing it, or was it different than that?
I had a really good first year. There was a group called $1 Million Roundtable, and gosh, I mean, I don't even remember what percentage of advisors qualify for that, but I made it. That's what my goal was. When you first walked into the really nice offices that we had, you would see the pictures up on the wall of all the other advisors who have qualified for this. It was like the big thing to do. And I did it my first year. I used to tell people who I would meet with, I want to put my picture up on the wall. I wanted, you had goals.
Yeah.
And I was able to do that because of the team around myself. I mean, it wasn't just me. I was putting in the hours and the time and the phone calls.
Right.
But I learned from great people, and they taught me how to do things the right way to get to those levels.
What, when you say I was putting in the hours and the phone calls, what was that? What did that entail? Cold calling people?
So when I started, what we did was called the Project 200. So that's where you try and come up with 200 names and phone numbers of your closest friends and family. So basically, I started calling my family, my friends, and my friends were just starting out with work, so they didn't have any really money yet, and my friends' parents. So I was just calling and trying to work with all my warm connections. And then there were also potential clients that hadn't been serviced in a while. So that was cold calling. And I was putting in 80 to 100 hours a week.
Wow. And it paid off.
Well, I was able to learn a lot. And that's what I wanted to do, is to learn how money works.
Yeah.
And it's not only for me, I've been able to translate my knowledge for other people. And that's been my passion, is just I've learned how to make money last for someone's lifetime. And that's what I focus my time on now. So you put in the hours early on, you know, that 10,000 hour rule, which I truly believe in, and you really become better at your skill and your craft. And it's just a time thing. You need to spend the time, effort, and energy to make it happen.
Yeah. So but at 20, were you living, I mean, you moved back to Chicago after college, right? Were you living at home with your parents, or did you have your own place? How did that go down?
When I first started, I was living with my parents, but then about quite a few months after I started, I got my own place. So I was out and about in the real world, and it was not easy, let me tell you. And plus, I had a ton of student loan debt that I needed to pay off. Soccer paid for half of my schooling. So that's another part of financial education that I learned, is how to pay off debt. And, you know, that's so crucial when you go into retirement, so that you don't have, you know, more cash flow needs to pay off your mortgage or cars or any of these miscellaneous things. It just makes life easier.
Yeah. So you started living at home after college. Within a few months, you got your own place, and you started, like, really, it sounds like you started doing well, very well, if you hit the $1 million round table.
I just was putting in the time, and I was there on the Saturday mornings. I was there at night. I remember there was one gentleman, Frank, there. He was there every Monday night, and he had been working for the company for 40 years at that time.
Wow.
So he still had that habit. He was retired, basically, but he still loved his people that he worked with. And him and I were the only ones there on Monday nights, late into the night, calling people and trying to work. And it just became a habit.
What do you think I mean, because most people don't put in that kind of work. What do you think separated you from the people that weren't there at night, that weren't there on the weekends? What was that?
Number one, it was just setting goals. I've always been a goal setter. I've always wanted to do things. And it's your habits. It's true when you wake up in the morning. It's true what you start your day off with. Do you start with your phone, or do you read, or do you journal? And I just read a lot of books. I read a lot of books about other financial advisors and how have they grown their practice. And I joined Strategic Coach. I joined Strategic Coach when I was 28, when I had just left and had no revenue. So a crazy time to do that. But it was such a good investment, because now I'm 7 years into that program, and it's been life-changing for me. It's really been a big game changer for my business, for my personal life, how I think, who I associate myself with. It's just been such a positive influence.
And talk a little bit about that, because I don't know. I've heard of Strategic Coach, but I don't know, like, what are the costs associated with being a member, and what do you get out of it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the costs are different depending on which program you're in. I'm in the 10X group with Dan Sullivan, and he's the creator. He's like
Wow.
the genius behind
Yeah.
it. His wife, Babs. It's all about the abundance mentality.
Yeah.
And think, we live in such an abundant country. Yeah, we're in tough times right now, but it's all about your mindset, I've learned. And
Yeah.
the people in my group are running these fantastic companies, really big companies. I mean, some of them are $100 million revenue.
Wow.
Really big companies. And
Yeah.
we go and have quarterly meetings. I mean, we've been doing everything virtual now because of COVID, but you're in a room with really powerful, intelligent people and you're sharing your wins. And as a business owner, not a lot of our friends are business owners. So you can't say, oh my God, I had a great month or a great quarter. You don't
Yeah.
talk about these things with our friends normally or our family. So it's really a great, warm environment to share your story, share your wins or your heartaches that you're having and how you can have a better sense for your business and better tools to use to get you through those different phases that we go through.
Wow. So, I mean, that is very, very powerful to be in a group like that. Do you find yourself getting sound advice from, there's a coach involved, I'm assuming?
It's Dan Sullivan. Like he's coaching our whole day workshop.
Wow.
Oh yeah. It's been a
Wow.
game changer. When I started that in December of last year, because that's when I started the 10X program, my business has completely changed. It changed immediately and it's still evolving. We're still making progress and we're having, a lot of fun actually, even during this pandemic.
Yeah.
Our process has changed and things have become a heck of a lot more efficient.
Yeah. So I'm sure it's what, $50 a month? I'm just kidding.
A couple dollars.
Yeah. So no, I mean, dude, Dan Sullivan is incredible. I'm sure it's not cheap to be a member of that. But that in mind, I mean, you seek an ROI on your investments, right? So when you invest in something like that, you look to get a return, and you're getting, sounds like, massive returns.
The 10X program is all about 10Xing your business and you're in your own time frame. As a business owner, we choose our deadlines. And we get caught up in that in life. We think we need to have it tomorrow or even yesterday. Life doesn't work like that. You need to take your time. You need to plan. You need to have a process. And that's what coaches taught me is you need to have your rejuvenation days, which we call the free days. And those are the days where you're not checking your email, you're not working, you're actually enjoying your time with your family.
Yeah.
And you have your focus days. Like today's a focus day for me, like meeting with clients, doing this amazing interview and just being in your unique ability. And then you have your cleanup days, your buffer days, where you're doing the paperwork or doing the things you need to clean up or you need to run to the dry cleaner that day. That's the day you do that, but you have set days and it gives me so much structure.
Wow. That's awesome. And you've been doing this for how long?
Coach. I started I'm in my 7th year now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's been a huge part of your success. It sounds like.
Ken, it's been one of the best investments. We need to invest in ourselves. I think taking at least 5 or 10% of your revenue and invest in courses. During this pandemic, I've taken multiple courses. My team is taking courses. So we're all trying to learn. I've been reading a lot of books. I've had great books that I've read during this pandemic and just keeping my brain sharp. Yeah. And we've invested in new software that's really made our lives easier. And, it shows people when they will potentially run out of money. And it takes a half an hour to go through with people. So it's just been a huge mind change for me over the past 6-7 years. Yep.
So you went from working at Prudential, you start your own gig. One of the first things you do is you join a coaching program, realizing that you were going to need guidance along the way. And things have, and now you're in the advanced coaching program called 10X. I wonder if Grant Cardone knows that Dan Sullivan took his 10X. So the So you're in this 10X coaching group with Dan Sullivan, and that's made a massive, massive impact in your business.
In my business, but I think more in my personal life, to be
Really?
frank. And yeah, absolutely. My wife and I were talking about this 2 days ago, where, I'm in my mid 30s now, and I feel like I'm in a better place mentally than I was in my 20s. From a health standpoint, I'm in a better place than I was in my 20s. And I played soccer in college, and I've always been active and trying to be healthy, but I feel much better now. And overall, life is just so much better than 10 years ago. And I think it's a lot because of all the books that we read, the people who we talk to, and always trying to learn and grow and make progress.
And these, sorry, I'm sitting here drinking a green smoothie. Oh, you can't tell because of the green screen. I'm drinking a green smoothie because I focus on my health as well. But so in the coaching group, though, you guys talk about books to read and like talk about the book you're reading as a group.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Here's a perfect example of that. So I was talking to Dan in between one of our breaks, and one of his clients, his name is Paul. He's another financial advisor out of Canada, and he's been he is Dan's longest tenured client, like 34 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So he connected me with Paul so that Paul could tell me about a book. It's called Lifespan by Dr. Sinclair. He is Harvard's #1 longevity doctor. So this gentleman thinks that we're going to be living until 120 or 130 within the next 20 years because of that's how quickly things are advancing. Yeah. And as a retirement income planner, we need to plan for at least 100, but we need to look past that. And that it's been really eye-opening, and we've been changing things for clients already because of that. Been very powerful.
Wow. He thinks we're going to live to 120 to or 130
within the next 20 to 30 years, Ken.
Wow. Because of the advances in medicine.
It's coming. Absolutely. Yeah. And we're aware of it too. I mean, we're taking care of ourselves better. Yeah. I mean, not everyone, but the people who really care, they're making that effort.
Yeah. So, wow, that's funny. I literally last night was talking to somebody and said, I don't know, I might live to be 110. Yeah. So, and I think, do you find that most people though don't plan on like needing money past a certain age?
Most people think two things, really. They think that once they get into their 80s or 90s, they're not going to be spending as much money. But, I know some 80-plus-year-olds who still do the race to Mackinac here in Chicago, like a 333-mile sailboat race on their boat that they own.
Wow.
So it's a mindset. Absolutely. I'm a big believer in that. But also people think that you need to have at least $1 million to retire. And it's just not true. It helps or more than that. But it depends on your cash flow because, Ken, you're different than myself and everyone else is different who I work with. So everyone in this day and age needs to have a customized plan for them. Absolutely, right. For them. And that's the key because someone could want to have, let's say, $4,000 a month of income for the rest of their lives. Other people want $20,000 a month of income, which people I know.
Right.
So you need to plan differently for all these people. And that's when I was 22 and 23, spending those 80 to 100 hours in the office learning. That's what's helped me get to this point now to help these different kinds of people during these times.
So is there anybody though that says I want $100,000 a month, $1 million a month? I mean,
I've never had that conversation, so I don't know of anyone who actually who I've worked with who's been like that, but I know some people who have lifestyles like that. Yes, Ken.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you live in a 30,000 square foot home, I don't think 20 grand a month's probably going to cut it. But again, right? I mean,
yeah.
everything's relevant. So what are the I hate to use the word tactics. And I love this question that Charles asked. Is your mastermind group, is it made up of financial planners or all kinds of businesses?
Hi, Charles. It's all types of business owners from all over the world. Like we have a gentleman come in from Australia for my group. So we have people all over the world. There are a decent amount of financial advisors or planners in there, but we have a gentleman who runs a really great company, a clothing company in New York City. And we have another gentleman who just built a plant in India, and it was wildly successful. He did it in 6 months. Well, he didn't do it. He didn't even go there. He just hired the people to do it, and it was put together in 6 months. So that's like the mindset that coach has given us, that we don't need to physically do it ourselves. We need to have the right people in their unique abilities doing what they're good at to get unstuck.
That's so awesome. So what are the tactics? And again, I don't like that word, but I can't think of another word. What do you do to wake people up? Like, I think there are most people, and I'm not judging. I mean, this is just reality. I believe the human ego is a great thing, but it can also be a really bad thing because it convinces us that we're going to live forever and we don't need to worry about anything. And that's just not the case. So what do you do to wake people up to realizing they need a plan?
They need to plan. Absolutely. They need to plan, whether it's with myself or someone else, you need to plan, and that's okay. But I take them through a special retirement income planning software. And this software shows you at what age you're going to have a shortfall. It'll go red where your money would potentially run out with what you're doing right now. So really, the tactics, first and foremost, you need to understand your fixed expenses. Sounds boring. It's not sexy. It's not like, oh my gosh, I want to tackle this project right away. But if you know that you're going to have $3,000, $5,000, or $10,000 a month of fixed expenses in retirement, we need to plan for that. So that's really the first determining factor to figure out how long your money could last for. And then you input, if you have a pension, your Social Security, potentially your spouse's Social Security. And then we also look at where your money currently is. Like we put in how much stocks and how much bonds you have. And we have to take into consideration inflation.
Right.
And our program takes you through all of this. And we ask everyone, in an ideal world, how much money would you like to have every single month in retirement? And we put that number in so that the plan is customized for them and they could see if it's feasible or not. And if we don't need to make any changes to their investments, that's great. That means that they've saved enough.
Yeah.
It means things are feasible. And if they haven't, that's where we need to look to change some of those assets or work longer or delay Social Security and come up with these creative strategies so that they could have their income every month. And that's just how my brain works.
Right. By the way, Larry Schneider, happy birthday. He's a friend of mine. He's on here and today's his birthday. So, so you, what about though? I mean, because there's people that I would imagine there's lots of people that just you call on them. And I mean, are these people that are coming to you saying, hey, I'm not sure if I'm going to have it, or are these people that you are cold calling, or how do you get the attention of somebody that has never planned, isn't planning, how do you get their attention?
Well, a couple of different ways. Number one is our current clients. They really introduce us to some great people.
Okay.
For instance, I was just introduced to a really great prospect or prospective client, and I had to tell her, you need to leave your money where it is right now, because we would have had a huge tax implication if we were to change something. So it wasn't suitable, and I had to tell her that. And that's how I run my practice. You have to be direct with people. But also some of the groups that I'm a part of and some of the boards that I work on.
Yeah.
I have some really great clients because it's all about that relationship. And, we've created the Retire As You Desire scorecard. So that's a website, www.retireasyouDesirescorecard.com,
Mm-hmm.
that people can go to and spend 5 to 10 minutes and really self-grade themselves to see if they're mentally ready to retire. Because that's part of it too. You need to be mentally ready to take that next step in your life and, really separate yourself from work. So we've created these other tools that help people gauge to see if they're ready to retire.
Wow. So most of your people are referred to you, though.
Correct.
Got it.
We've been doing some virtual webinars, just like a lot of other people right now, but we've had people coming to our webinars, and we've had introductions via the webinars. So that's been really powerful. That's been a great transition tool instead of doing in-person events like we used to do.
Charles says, other than our mortgage, our medical expenses are huge for us at $1,500 a month. What should we plan for those expenses to be in the future, and how do we figure this out?
That's a great question, Charles. Love this question. So $1,500 a month is fantastic. I mean, that's really a great number to be at. So congratulations. You've done some really great things, it sounds like, just from the onset.
He said that's huge.
Well,
he said our medical expenses are huge at $1,500 a month.
Well, we need to plan for inflation with that, because medical expenses have been astronomical in the past 20 to 30 years. And he's probably referring to, thank you for that clarification, Ken, is probably because of the Medicare, if they're over 65, and if they're withdrawing even more monies out of their pre-tax dollars, that could create a Medicare surplus. So there could be an additional tax on those monies that a lot of people don't know about. So you need to be careful. And it used to be 300. So Charles may have retired early. So they might be in that gap stage where they're 62 and they have to pay their own health insurance as well. Maybe one of them is on Medicare. There's a lot of different expenses that come into play. So we need to plan for inflation with that. That's how we estimate that. Yeah. And if they're past 65 in Medicare, hopefully that should reduce those costs. But we need to plan. Our system takes our clients through that. We're able to use different inflation rates for those expenses. So our tool shows them those costs.
So now, do you do this just in Illinois, or are you everywhere?
We have clients in multiple different states. We're able to work in any state in America. So we are able to work virtually with other people. Like I actually manage the 403B for my university that I went to. So I get to work with the faculty and staff that helped me and taught me in education. So I'm giving back and spending time with them. And I have clients in Ohio and Florida and multiple other states.
Charles is in California.
Yes. Yeah. Could definitely work in California too.
That's awesome. So check out your Retire As You Desire scorecard. He's asking, is that what he needs to do?
That would be a great starting point. Yes, absolutely.
And that's where is that? On your website?
It's on our website, and it's also right at www.retireasyouDesirescorecard.com.
Wow, that's a long URL. But they can get to it through bloomfinancialco.com.
Yes, sir.
Got it. So here's what I find interesting. And it's definitely not financial planning. I do not find that interesting. Sorry.
Most people don't. It's okay.
It's a boring topic. Let's just be real, man. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. But you know what I do find interesting though is that you went to college, you had some college student loan debt, and I mean, in America, it's like there's this, and I think it's changing, but there's this thing that we go to college, we get out of college, we go get a job, we work there for 30 years, we retire, then we die. So that's kind of the way, right? So what made you think, man, I'm going to go work commission only, not get a salary? Like most people don't do that.
That's true. And I'm a little crazy for that. I'll admit that, but it was a choice. I wanted to do that. I had the confidence to go out and try it. I mean, I was 22 at the time. You're very young. And again, if we live to 120, that means I would have had another 100 years almost to live. So you have time if things don't work. But I put a plan together and I wanted to do it. I wanted to have more freedom and flexibility with my time.
Yeah.
And that was so important for me because whenever I would have a family, I wanted to be able to spend more time with them. And we're able to do that now. And yeah, we work a lot. My wife works a lot too, but we're able to still spend time with each other, which is super important to me.
Yeah. Now, does your wife work in the same industry or?
She doesn't. She actually is a very, very, very smart woman. She is an actuary by education from the University of Buenos Aires. She's from Argentina. And she manages over 150 people at Nielsen, like, AC Nielsen.
Yeah.
But she does the data analytics for the large corporations and the profitability. We're definitely a numbers household.
Wow.
So she's super intelligent, and she has a huge team that she manages. So she's very busy too right now.
So is your what's that called? Wedding photo album? Is that like on spreadsheets?
My gosh, it's so funny. When we first started dating, my wife and I, she was like going through Excel with me, and I don't know how to use it because we can't create our own Excel. Like I've never used it besides in college, and she is an Excel wizard and Google Sheets wizard. She knows how to do all the pivot tables and all that. I could barely function, but I don't use it for my business. We have tools that are actually approved and has our compliance. Yeah. Never touch it.
Right. Wow. So, wow, man. What'd you say? An actuary? I don't even know what that is. Like, I've never even heard of that.
Right. So for instance, when you have your life insurance premiums, it's like a statistician almost, but actuaries create those premiums. They run the numbers. So she has a very specialized degree from Argentina.
Wow. Agnes thinks she's in Argentina. No, she's from Argentina. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming she lives in Chicago with you.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so what's the biggest piece of advice you would give somebody right now that maybe is 65 or 70 years old and they didn't plan and they're concerned, they're worried about their financial future?
Yeah, so I have two things for you. Number one would be to understand your fixed expenses, because most people don't take the time to do that. So spend an hour, half an hour, go through your checkbook, go through your bank accounts, go through your credit cards, and figure out what are all those essential items that you're going to be spending money on for the rest of your life. We have a worksheet that could help you with that if someone needs that. And number 2 would be to look at Roth IRA conversions. This has been a very popular topic in our industry this year because, we just printed quite a few $1 trillion of money. Our government did. So looking at potential paying your taxes now and having tax-free money later could be a really powerful strategy for people. It just has to make sense for you.
So you said you have a sheet for that, you said?
For those fixed expenses, yes. We have, it lists all the traditional things that you would have an expense in retirement. So it really simplifies that process. So you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours of time figuring out all your expenses. It will list everything for you. And then that's when you just go through for 1 month. Okay, here's my mortgage payment if you still have one, or here's my insurance costs, like the $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
Charles would write that down in there. And it's really
what's that $1,500 a month going to be in 6 years? And how do you figure that out?
That's where we use our retirement planning tool, and we could put in inflation for that. And we could specifically use that expense and choose inflation numbers for that to forecast that.
And are these fairly accurate projections? Are they accurate?
They're very accurate, very, very accurate. But it's really nice because if someone has a lower risk tolerance and they want to forecast a 5% return on their money because that's what they feel comfortable with, that's what we do, or a 6% or a 3%. So when you look at those different variations, it gives you different flavors as to how long that money could last for and what your expenses could be in the future. So it's a really intuitive tool, and it does it in real time. Like I do it on Zoom with people, and I just move the toggle, Ken, and it will show you immediately the changes. It's amazing.
Wow. And and are these, like, when you meet with people and talk about their future, you meet with people in every state, like it doesn't matter, like you're all over the nation, right?
I could work with anyone, in any state. I do have that capability to do so.
Okay. So when you are meeting with people, you meet them on Zoom, you said, for one-on-one meetings.
Right now, right? Yeah, because of COVID and
yeah.
Yep.
Well, and flying to California just doesn't make sense, right? So, hey, there's Justin Breen. What's up, Justin?
What's up, Justin?
So when you meet with people, is there a charge for that, or do you meet with them for free and go through everything? And
yep, I don't charge them. We're going to sit down and I'm going to listen to them and ask them questions like, what's most important to you financially? And I be quiet, let them talk. And then, ask them, what are 3 things you would like to do when you retire? And I want to get to know people because it's all about that relationship, Ken. You know this.
What if they're already retired, though? What if they've already retired and I know somebody actually that is already retired and really, really concerned that they're going to run out of money. Like, how do you help them? You just help them, like, scale back? Is that, because nobody wants to scale back.
Right. People don't want to adjust their lifestyle. So let's take your friends as an example. What I would do with them is take them through our planning software. That takes 30 to 45 minutes to really go through. It's not that much time. So it's a good investment of your time. But what we do is we look at their current investments. So we would put how much stocks they have, how much bonds they have, if they have any annuities or a pension or their Social Security, and put in all their information. Right. And then ask them that magical question, how much money would you like to have every single month for the rest of your life in retirement? And then I plug that number in and we see if it's feasible.
That's it.
It's really simple, Ken. I want to keep things simple for people. We don't need to overcomplicate an already complicated situation. We want to keep things as simple as possible. And I'm a simplifier by nature. And that's why I use this software, because it will visually show you in real time how your plan looks.
Wow.
Really.
If you were like, what do you think what do you think holds people back though from, like, I mean, because it sounds to me like you should be starting planning early in life, right?
Correct.
And what stops people from doing that?
A couple of things. Number one is fear. The fear of running out of money. I mean, that cripples people. It cripples them from taking action. We as humans, we get in our own way, and we do it a lot. We probably do it daily and we don't realize it. But
Right.
number two is the lack of financial education that we have in the school system here. When my parents went to school, they were never taught money. Ken, were you taught money when you went to school?
No. I do remember them teaching us how to balance a checkbook. I don't think they do that anymore.
I don't know. I really don't know, but I didn't learn it. I had to learn it the hard way by actually doing it and going into that business. I mean, I took financial courses in college, but it doesn't do it justice. That's why I think when you're in 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, they need to start teaching compounding interest and how money can work. And then when you get into high school, have them do like a stock picking course to learn about business, or an entrepreneurial course on how to start a business and what it takes. We live in such an abundant country and a beautiful country. We have technology, we have all these great features, but if we start teaching our youth now, and that's what we're going to be teaching our son, is how to be independent. I think these little changes in the educational system could really advance our society and culture even further than we are now, because we're going to teach independence and innovation, and you're going to have a platform to do that. I think there should be an entrepreneurial school, actually, even for younger kids, teach them how to do things. And it all comes down to education and knowledge, because knowledge is power.
Yeah. Here's my buddy Doug Wing, says he was introduced to Dave Ramsey many years ago, that he changed his life. Once you're debt free, you can help so many others.
That's a beautiful thing, Doug. You're absolutely right about that. I mean, the one thing that Dave Ramsey is very famous for is that snowballing your debt. Get rid of your biggest one first and then snowball that down the hill. You just get rid of those expenses, because again, when you go into retirement, the less expenses you have, the more you're going to have the opportunity to enjoy your money that you worked so hard for.
It's true. It's true. What is the number one thing? I ask every guest this. What do you and by the way, the number one answer is always fear. So you have to do better than that. What is the number one thing that holds people back from achieving real success and real happiness in life?
Daily habits. Simple as that. Daily habits. It depends on how you wake up. What do you do? Are you immediately on your phone? Are you reading the news that's negative? I used to get the Wall Street Journal every morning and thinking it's going to help me with my clients' investments. It put me in a negative mood first thing in the morning. So get rid of it, because there's always an incident, an accident, something negative. It's headlines. So you need to start your day off either exercising, eating well, journaling. I do that every morning, write my gratitudes out, the things I want to accomplish every day, or meditating. That's a great thing that I want to do more of. I don't really do that well, or hardly enough. So when you set your day up for success, if you win your morning, you're going to win your day. Big believer in that.
Love that.
that's really the key, Ken, is that's why is your daily habits. Are you eating the apple instead of the donut? And I love donuts. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big sweets person, but
Yeah.
95% of the time I'm eating well. I mean, you hear people say, oh, I wish I had this. I wish you had that. Stop wishing. Go do it. You don't have to wish. You can have that. You could have, better health. You could have that better relationship. You just actually have to do it. And you just overthink things. And when you do that, you get in your own way. Like, a lot of your other guests talk about, you need to actually take action.
Love that, man. So the best way for people to find you is bloomfinancialco.com. And where are you most active on social media, or are you?
We are on LinkedIn. That's the most active platform that we use. So that's just linkedin.com /Bloom Financial.
What about you personally? Are you active on Facebook or Instagram or?
On Facebook, yes.
Awesome. Bill, thank you. I appreciate you coming on and sharing some of your insights and wisdom with everyone. Thank you, Justin Breen, for introducing us. And stay with me. I'm going to end the live stream, but hang on for me and we'll chat here in a minute. So thank you to everyone who's watched and shared this out and participated. Really appreciate it. Reach out to Bill with any financial planning questions that you have, bloomfinancialco.com. Bill, thank you so much.
This has been a pleasure. I'm really grateful. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you. We'll see you guys later.